What if Deku joined Team JPDE? Chapter 6. Sexy Penny. Sunday. Day 14. Today, Team Jade have gone into Vale for dorm much needed pantry shopping. Alright, David, Ijuku and I got the day list, Jack said. And we have the breakfast list, Penny said. We make our rounds and meet back in the marketplace's break area by 12, David said. Then it's ice cream time. You'll love the place David and I found last time, Evelyn said. Ready. Mission start, Jack said. Penny and Evelyn then split off from the others. Okay, what's the first item on the list, David asked. Cinnamon. Although it doesn't specify what variety. Though I probably know what variety you want, Deku said. Vacuo variety for sure. Believe me, we won't go through my stash of Mistrali anytime soon, Jack said. Mistrali it is, then David said. You make a convincing argument, Deku said. Why you little, Jack said. Over in another part of Vale. I don't think the situation is as grievous as you think, Howard, a voice said over a scroll. Are you serious? Do you have your serious face on, right now? I can't tell because it's not a video call, but I think you're yanking my chain, right now. Ozpin's got it, Howard said. No. You think that Ozpin's got it, the voice said. How could he have it, Howard asked. What he got thanks to his assistant is two teens who were around the point of impact of a meteor, the voice said. One of which was walking around with a very peculiar object which he would no doubt put under lock and key, Howard said. And that's where your argument is faulty. Remember that it was sent away to be hidden as a last resort. We don't know what appearance it was given, but I'd wager it would be something inconspicuous, considering there are people actively looking for it. AKA us, the voice said. Alright, that makes sense. He still got the only witnesses to the crash, Howard said. I guess you'll have to masquerade as a student. Did you get a description of the two, the voice asked. Yeah, but I doubt it's going to be that easy. I mean, if I had the only witness to a mysterious event that threatened the safety of the capital of a kingdom under my protection, I would keep them secluded away until, Howard said. Evelyn, I think that shop should be suitable, Penny said. Matters were thoroughly investigated, Howard said. Are you absolutely sure that the prices are lower here than in the market, Evelyn asked. They are for this particular item. I checked their catalog on the way to Beacon, Penny said. I can't believe this, Howard said. Howard. What is it, the voice asked. Let's just say that the ounce may not be the shrewd international man of mystery I believed him to be, Howard said. Back with Jack, David and Deku. Hey, guys. Did Evelyn apologize to the both of you, Jack asked. Yeah. She apologized to me Thursday morning. Thank God she didn't try anything, Deku said. She did, but it wasn't a big deal, really, David said. Your complexion kind of said otherwise, Jack said. Point taken. I mean that it objectively wasn't a big deal, I was just surprised. I mean, I expected that Evelyn may do something to tease us, but I didn't expect her to be so bold, David said. What, David asked. After your first meeting, you didn't expect her to be so bold, Jack said. Wait, what about your first meeting, Deku asked. She climbed on top of me while I was asleep and tried to observe me, as she called it. And I knew she could be bold in general with her actions and with her words, but I didn't think she could be bold in. You know, David said. Using her body to get a rise out of people, Jack asked. Yes, that. I didn't think she was the type, David said. I didn't think she would be that forward to do that and be close to touching. But I should have expected this after the pancake war, Deku said. Well, actually she isn't the type to do those things, Jack said. I'm confused, David said. Then why, Deku asked. Listen, I've known Evelyn for a few years now. She was an early bloomer, so to speak, and while she may have used her wiles on people from time to time, that's all she did. So, it's not that she's comfortable in using her body to get a rise out of people. She's comfortable in using her body to get a rise out of you too, Jack said. That can't be right, David said. Why not, Jack asked. Because while my amnesia leaves me next to zero experience with women, I'm still a man and she's so pretty, and David said. Sexy, I know. David, those kind of reactions and thoughts are perfectly normal. What I'm saying is that she may be okay with it. And who knows, she may not be the only one. I think you're selling yourself a bit too short, Jack said. Frankly, I'm not selling myself at all. Between everything going on in my life in the last 2 weeks, I never thought about this kind of stuff, David said. I don't think Evelyn cares much about those little details, Deku said. You're probably right, David said. On the topic of Evelyn. Izuku, what do you think of Evelyn, and her sexiness, Jack asked. Well. Deku said, blushing and muttering. Oh, my gods, Jack. You've broken him, David said. Hello. Remnant to Izuku. You there, Jack asked. Yeah. Sorry, Deku said. Evelyn was way bolder than that, but you're blushing so much, Jack said. Well. I'm just not used to talking to or about attractive girls, Deku said. Seriously. I have amnesia, but I can still talk about how attractive Evelyn is, David said. But you've been around girls since day one. I haven't had many interactions with girls, Deku said. Really? Why, Jack asked. I wasn't very popular with the others in my village, Deku said. Bullshit. Not to quote Evelyn, but you have everything a girl could want in a man, David said. But I wasn't always like this. Everyone in my village has at least a semblance. Some kids even have their aura unlocked by the time they enter our academy, some even have a semblance, Deku said. Well. Really? Little kids had their own aura and sometimes a semblance, Jack asked. Not little kids. 10 years old is when most children unlock their aura. Due to our remote and hostile environment at the age of 10, most families unlock their child's aura so they would be safer. Even though it's weak at first, by the time they enter the academy, they have strong auras. However, I was not so lucky, Deku said. What do you mean, David asked. When my aura was unlocked, it was practically non-existent. I basically had no aura, and when the kids I played with found out, they started bullying me, and that's when I got my nickname. Deku is a play on my name Izuku, and it means useless. I would never get to be the hero I wanted to be. I tried to deny it. I did analysis on the other kids and hunters on their semblances. I managed to enter the academy, but it was a fluke, Deku said. Then how did you end up the way that you are now, Jack asked. A hunter who went by All Might saw potential on me. He told me that he was in a similar situation to me, and he became the best hunter in our village. He helped me a lot. He got me to the starting line with the others through intense physical and aura training. Now look at me, now I've got a strong aura and powerful semblance, Deku said. That David said. Sounds like a shitty childhood. Being discriminated against because of something that's not your fault. I'm glad you're here now, Jack said. Am I though? I mean, even though it was rough, I wouldn't be here if things were different. And I miss my home. I left a lot of friends I made in my class and my family back home, Deku said. Okay. Enough with the doom and gloom. Izuku, answer the question, what do you think of Evelyn's body, David asked. Well, she has a mature body. More mature than any of my classmates, but, some of them could catch up. So, to speak, Deku said. So, you went from being surrounded by pretty girls to have a sexy bunny who is very bold with you, David said. Wait, even bigger than Jack asked. Deku nodded. Man. Outdone by 15-year-olds. Some of the girl won't like that. Anyways. Shall we continue shopping? Jack asked. If we don't have to talk about Evelyn's. Then, yes please, Deku said. Back with Evelyn and Penny. And that's the last item on the list. Hooray us. Want to head back? Evelyn asked. Home, actually. Before we go back, Evelyn, Penny said. Home, Evelyn said. I thought about what you said last time. I did some research and Penny said. You naughty girl, Evelyn said. It's not too much, Penny asked. Only if you play it safe, Evelyn said. Playing it safe? Penny asked. Phew phew phew. First of all, the pose, Evelyn said. Target confirmed, boss. It corresponds to the description I gathered, Howard said. Time to go back to school, then. Me and the others will be a few more days. We should make a report about this before leaving, the voice said. I'd need to have gone to school to begin with to go back. Later, Boss Howard said. Team Jade had now returned to Beacon and had finished having dinner in their dorm room. Though they made a bit too much food. How did it go? Penny, Deku asked as Penny returned. Perfectly. Young seemed particularly happy to take the extra food off our hands. Although Ruby complained about the lack of dessert, Penny said. All right. You sure I can take a shower before you go? Then David asked. Sure, go right ahead, Jack said. Fine by me, Evelyn said. By all means, Penny said. David nods and gets up. He deposits his plate in the dishwasher as he goes. All right, Penny. Do you remember the plan? Evelyn asked. Affirmative, Penny said. Wait. What's is this plan? Deku asked. Remember, you're to get into the shower last and come back after David has fallen asleep. Jack, have you prepared the object? Evelyn asked. Yes, I have, but I'm still not completely sold on this plan, Jack said. Is there anything I missed? Penny asked. No, but it doesn't feel like something you'd do, Penny. Then again, I guess the whole point, isn't it? Making David look at you in a new light. Even if I don't understand what you need makeup for, Jack asked. Right. And that's, for decoration, Penny said. It's makeup after all. Operation Slumber Encounter is a go, Evelyn said. What are you talking about? This feels like something I shouldn't be a part of. Should I sleep somewhere else? Deku asked. Oh, sorry Izuku. In my planning I kind of forgot that you share the bed with us, Penny said. That's a great idea. Now you will be all alone with David, Penny. Izuku, you can come sleep with me. I have 2 big cushions for you, Evelyn said. On second thought, I'll stay where I am. But Penny, Deku said. Penny said. Please keep the noise down, Deku said, as then he left the kitchen. Oh my. I don't think he of all people could think, Evelyn said. Well, you did make it sound like that. And he's more mature than some people I know, Jack said. Hey, Evelyn said. I'm not going that far, Penny said. Yet Evelyn said. Jack, David, Deku and Evelyn were now in bed, while Penny was still in the shower. Good night, Deku. Evelyn. Jack, David said. Night, David, Deku said. Night, partner, Jack said. Night, David. Sleep tight but not too tight, Evelyn said. David then went to sleep. Soon Deku followed suit. Deku then opened his eyes and found himself in a black void. His body was mostly covered in a black mist. Only the top of his head and right hand was visible. Hey little man, a voice shouted. Deku turned around to see the 5th user, Daigro Banjo hero named Lariat. You've still got it wrong. You need to embrace it. Make it your own, Lariat said. Deku just looked down. But doesn't matter right now. We need to get back home, things are going to happen. And with your disappearing act, it's going to make them bolder, Lariat said. Deku used his right hand to draw a question mark in the air. Oh, you still thinking that? Whatever happened that transported us here, it wasn't any of the other quirks. It was something different. We have felt something, know someone else is in here. But we can't see them, only feel them, but it's very faint. We'll continue to look for them, but you need to find a way home, Lariat said. Deku nodded. Now, start using us. We are all one now, Lariat said. Deku then woke up. His body felt hot. Deku then looked around the room from right to left. As he looked around, he saw that everyone was asleep. He then felt David tossing and turning. He looked down to see David, but his eyes stopped at another sight. He saw Penny out of the duvet and in ill-fitting nightwear. It showed Penny's neck and shoulder and showed her thighs. Had a bad dream, Izuku? Penny asked. Deku then moved his eyes from Penny's body to her face. I wouldn't call it a bad dream. Just a weird dream. I was woken up more by the temperature than the dream, Deku said. I think there may be something wrong with the heating. I'd say it's 5 degrees higher than it should be, Penny said. That's why I'm sweating so much. Is this part of Operation Slumber encounter? Deku asked. Yes, Penny said. Okay. I'll leave it alone, but please hurry it up and turn the temperature down and keep it down when you do it, Deku said, as he took off his shirt. Now it was Penny's turn to blush. Not just at Deku's words but also at his body. His body glistened in the low light from Penny's side of the bed. Deku then laid back down and closed his eyes, to try and fall asleep before Penny and David did it. Unfortunately, David woke up soon after. Are you awake too, David? Penny asked. Penny. I, David stammered. There's something wrong with the dorm room heating, Penny said. Excuse me, David asked. The environmental temperature. I think the room's heating system may have been turned up by a few centigrade too high, Penny said. So that's why I'm currently swimming in my own sweat, David said. Were you having a bad dream? Your tossing and turning was above average, Penny said. Oh. Well, I wouldn't call it a bad dream. But the finale was certainly shocking, David said. I see. Do you want to talk about it? Penny asked. Oh, it's no big deal, really. We should get back to sleep, anyway. It's a school day. I'll turn the heater back down, David said. Something wrong, David? Penny asked. Nothing wrong. Gonna turn down that thing now, David said. David then got out of bed and turned the heater down. Realizing that Penny was not gonna do it with David, Deku quickly fell back asleep. Though as he slept, he rolled over and was now right up next to Penny. David then climbed back into bed after turning the heater down. Phew, Operation Slumber encounter was a complete success. The results were even better than we expected, Evelyn whispered. Oh, my gods, go to sleep already, Carrots Jack whispered. Save one for me, Penny, Evelyn whispered. Penny looked at Deku's cute sleeping face. She found it adorable. She looked at the scars along his body, she traced her hands over Deku's biggest scar and then touched her neck. She then soon went back to sleep, though keeping her hand on Deku's scar and was much closer to Deku. I like you too, Izuku, Penny whispered. End of chapter 6.